In the last section, we created our Redux store and then passed it off to the provider. So now any component inside of our application can somehow get access to that Redux store through the provider tag. Let's now start to work on the React side of our application by creating a song list component and then hooking it up to our app component. So inside of my components directory, I'm going to make a new file called songlist.js. And then inside of here, I'll put together some pretty basic markup. I'll say import React from React, and then I'll create a class-based component in here. So I'll say class song list extends react.component. Now, by the way, since we've now seen exactly how that named export thing works, just so you know, there's an alternate way that we could write out react.component right here. If we wanted to, we could directly import the component base class from the React library like so. So we have both a default export and a named export on a single line. Now, right next to extends, we could write out simply component instead of react.component. Now, both ways are completely appropriate to define a component. There's not one way that is better than another in any way, shape, or form. So do whichever way you like more. Personally, you will see each of them just about 50% in the wild. Like 50% of blog posts are going to show one way, 50% are going to show another way. So it's really up to you which way you define your base class right here, or superclass. Okay, so now inside of song list, I'm going to define my render method, and for right now, I'll just return a div that says song list. And then after that, I'll say export default song list. Let's now wire this thing up to our app component, and then we'll start thinking about how we're going to implement this connect component as well. So I'm going to change back over to my app.js file. At the top, I will import song list from song list, and then I'll show that inside this thing's render method. So I'll put song list inside there, and I'm going to turn it into a multi-line JSX expression. Don't forget to clean up the semicolon after that div right there. Make sure you delete that thing. All right, so that's it. I'm going to make sure that I save both files, and then I should be able to flip back over to my application and see song list appear on the screen. Now for right now, let's just kind of set our sights a little bit low. Let's say that we want to get our list of songs into the song list and just console log them. That's all I want to do for right now. So in order to do so, we need to create an instance of this connect component right here. And we need to pass it some configuration that gets it to reach back up to the provider and tell it that it wants to get the list of all the songs inside of our app. So we're going to write out some code here that you're going to write out a billion times. Like just all the time, you're going to write out the same stuff over and over again. This connect component thing is going to be defined directly inside of our song list component file, because only the song list needs to create this connect function that reaches up and gets that list of songs. So at the top of the file, I'm going to import connect from React-Redux. And notice here that connect is lowercase. It is not capitalized, it is lowercase. So to create an instance of the connect component, we're going to use some kind of strange looking syntax, okay? This is very strange looking syntax, but bear with me, I'll tell you exactly how it works. So I'm going to go down to my export default down here, and right in front of song list, I'm going to say connect. I'm going to place a set of parentheses, and then I'm going to put a second set of parentheses around song list like so. Now this might look like really weird syntax to you, but trust me, it is completely valid JavaScript code. Just to prove that to you, I'm going to save this file, and then we're going to flip back over to our application, and you're going to see that we still see our song list component on the screen. So before we try to configure this connect thing and get it to tell the provider that we want our list of songs, I want to very quickly tell you about the syntax that you see right here by showing you a quick written example. So I'm going to flip on over to that little code editor over here. Remember, you can get here by going to stevengreider.github.io/jsplaygrounds, or you know what, actually we can just go to /playgrounds like so. Simpler URL. Okay, so we're going to write out a function that essentially is going to end up with the same signature as what you see right here. So I'm going to define a function that I'll call connect. And then inside of here, I'm going to return a function And whenever that thing gets called, I'm just going to return a value of hi there, like so. So we've got a function that returns a function. Now, whenever I call that original function connect, I don't immediately see anything out over here. But if I now add on a second set of parentheses, I see the text hi there. So what is the connect function doing in the React Redux library doing? Well, all it's doing is returning a function. And when we call the function that gets returned, we put on the second set of parentheses right after it. So connect right here, the first set returns a function. The second set invokes the function that got returned. That's it. Completely valid JavaScript code. Okay, so now that we understand that this is valid JavaScript, let's take another quick pause right here. When we come back to the next section, we're going to start to configure this connect function call. So quick pause, and I'll see you in just a minute.